Hey, hey, hey.
All right. It's
Hey, good
Friday,
morning.
August 15th, MarTech Live. You've got Mark, you've got Mike. If you've joined before, you know who we are. This week, we're joined by Lauren Shumate, GTM advisor in Raleigh, and MarTech contributor, and moderator for one of the discussions coming up at our September 17th MarTech Conference event about data and AI, which is free and online. So register today. Anything else we want to add to the resume, Lauren?
No, I'm so excited to be here. What a great opportunity to talk to you guys, and real excited about the event on September 17th.
All right. Today we've got a sponsor. Our first ever sponsor. It is the MarTech Replacement Survey. Take a few minutes, scan the QR code if you're able to, or head to the site and look for the link. It's the top item on the site right now on Friday. Take a few minutes to take the MarTech Replacement Survey. No less than Scott Brinker, the godfather of MarTech, calls this one of his favorite pieces of research.
He does?
He does. I used it on
Let me test I'm testing the QR code in real time. It works. Let's go.
All right. So we'll put together a report that will be free to download. No need to give us an email address unless you want to. There is an option to do so. Why people replace tools in their MarTech stack, how they go about doing it, what they replace them with. This year, as you might expect, we revamped it with lots of answer options about AI. So, for instance, when you talk about why you ditched a piece of MarTech software, did it lack some of the AI functionality? When you chose a replacement, did it have more AI functionality than the previous one? So lots of AI stuff, like everything else going on in marketing. So thank you to the MarTech Replacement Survey for sponsoring this edition of MarTech Live.
Mike, what year is this? This is like year 4, maybe?
It was going on before I got here.
Yeah, I think it might be year 4, maybe year 5. I think it's fascinating. We should maybe think about even doing like actually, you probably already do. I'm speaking out of turn. Do we do like a trend? Like, have we looked at like over the since we started doing this?
I mentioned that we added more AI related answers this year just to keep up with the times, but we try not to radically change it so that the data from year to year does show trends. Marketing automation platforms, for instance, always the most replaced MarTech application.
I think it's a great survey.
Yeah.
You should take it if you're a marketing person. You should read it if you're a marketing person. I think it's a unique survey. So thank you to our sponsor.
All right. Lauren, we're going to talk about go-to-market, and I want to start off with this little anecdote. MarTech Charts, a Friday feature published today on the martech.org website. We've got a clip from a survey from B2B marketing. 53% of the B2B marketers that they surveyed could not pick the correct definition of GTM when given a list of definitions to choose from. What does that tell us? Does it tell us that nobody knows what GTM is? Does it tell us it's become one of those terms like digital transformation that means whatever you want it to mean? What do we take away from that?
Well, I don't know if I can tell you the correct definition of GTM, to be honest. I mean, I think we tend to label things. We like to label things as a way to understand, as human beings, are you this or are you that? But I think it backfires, on us. And I think the other major problem is that marketers are having a hard time finding the right places to get an education. An organization like MarTech is tremendous because it's a non-biased organization that you can attend an event and you can really truly get a good education. But in all fairness, most marketing people, you have to be proactive about your education, and you are mostly educated by vendors who have a bias to however they want you to understand the definitions of how they see the world, which is how their product works. Right. And so I think arguably a lot of those marketers that are confused, they're probably the only definitions they have is maybe what a vendor told them. And that's a big problem. And that's, we used to have serious decisions and some of these analysts that were really valuable to us as marketers. And we just really don't have that anymore. Even some of the vendors are buying up the thought leaders. So the thought leaders are now, it's more self-serving than it is unbiased. And that's a real problem.
Yeah. I think when you and I were talking before we went live, GTM strategy, there's still a lot of people out there who are sort of playing the MQL game.
Yeah. 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 I think it's in response. That's the go to market is in response to the failing MQL game of, the 1 to 2% conversion that we are consistently, receiving. And I think at the end of the day, it's about solving the revenue desperation problem. And, I used that term one day and all of a sudden become my term. People are borrowing it from me. I should have trademarked it or something like that. But it's not that sophisticated. It's the reality is a lot of companies don't know where growth is going to come from or how to do it anymore. And what is really frustrating, having been in the revenue business for a really long time is, we've got thought leaders that are saying the MQL is dead. Okay. All right. Most modern marketers kind of know that. We know that we needed to produce thousands of leads and we could very easily, take budgets and be able to finagle it to show that we could produce thousands of leads. And then all of a sudden there was no conversion. And then all of a sudden we lost our credibility on so many different levels that we're still fighting for a voice at the table. As I told you, Mike, earlier, I have an analogy about how, marketers are kind of sitting at the kids' table eating pizza while a board meeting is going on, and we don't ever know as marketers whether we're going to be invited to the adult table, or not. And a lot of that happened because the kind of measurements that have been put in place, to measure marketing for a really long time. And where I sit and where my blood boils about when it comes to, the MQL is dead. I believe the MQL is dead too, but the problem is none of these thought leaders actually talk about what you're going to do about it. And so, what does account-based go-to-market really look like? And those that kind of dance on the edge a little bit are not re-educating for business transformation to the audiences that really need it. And we need to be shouting for the rooftops and educating the investors, the private equity firms, the VCs. We need to be educating the CEOs who are interviewing us and asking us how we're going to take the 1 to 2% MQL conversion and fix it. Okay. And we need to start talking to our customers, for God's sakes. Like the messiness of the lack of product market fit, because product marketers are like the last to be hired in startup and growth stage. It's so stupid. And that's what keeps go to market advisors like myself fed. Because what happens in these companies, especially startups, is they pivot like heck. They don't know their product market fit. They try something for a few months. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, my marketer is horrible. We don't know what we're doing. We're going to fire these people. We're going to pivot and we're going to do something else. And then what happens is we've got to build funnel, and all of a sudden it's a new buyer persona. So they're a stranger. And as marketers, we've got to work magic to figure out how to make strangers friends in the shortest part of possible time. And I call it hugging strangers is what we do. Okay. So if you're at a party and you walk into the party, now my family's from Argentina, so we hug everybody. Okay. But most people don't really like to be hugged by strangers so easily. Okay. But everyone can agree that when you walk into a party and you talk about yourself, whether the person you're talking to cares about you or not, you most likely are. It's not a really good strategy to make a new friend. Okay. But as a sales rep, we think everyone's in market. Okay. So I love explaining the 95-5 rule to companies, to especially sales leaders, but also to CEOs, because the concept that only 5% of the market is active, 5%. But sales, meanwhile, is messaging everyone like they're in market. Everyone they want to hug, right? And and it does not work that way. And no one wants to really think strategically of how you're the conductor of your funnel. And worse, to kind of close out this thought, too many marketers do not have the education to know how to do it. And the risk to that is tremendous right now, because revenue desperation has no time. private equity and VC companies do not have the patience, for you to figure it out and to take that risk and to pivot another time. It's just money's too expensive right now.
I want to maybe take a strategic step back just for a minute.
Please.
I'll do that was great, by the way, Lauren. Like, there's so much in that to unpack.
I know, right?
But let's go high and then we'll come low. And so, real quick, shout out to Sangram, because we all know Sangram Vajre. I had him on the podcast. Actually, I think it publishes next week, if I'm not mistaken. It's a great conversation. Wednesday, awesome. One of the things we talk about, and I'll ask you, Lauren, because I think it's a really interesting question just to ask people: who owns GTM?
Well, so that is I love this question. Okay. So I know that Sangram says the CEO owns, so please yell louder. Okay. To my point, and I don't have the influence that someone like he does, but maybe we need an alliance. Okay. Now, I don't know that I completely agree with him, though. I'm going to be very honest, because I think that marketing leaders are the best equipped professionals to be the go-to-market designers and really own. Okay. Because back to my original point, a good marketer knows how to conduct the funnel. Okay. They understand that there is demand creation, and they understand that there is demand capture, and that not everyone is your friend. Not everyone wants to be hugged. Okay. And so these go-to-market engineers are making me really nervous, who are really good at clay and really good at whatever, because and those that come from RevOps, though I love RevOps, so I'm not going to say anything bad about RevOps, but do they have the business acumen to understand how to conduct an audience and how building the funnel works? I don't think they do. So my hope is that the marketing leader, and I will do everything while I'm still alive to empower the marketing leader, to use my voice and empower others, to get that marketing leader out off of the kids' table eating pizza and into the boardroom as the go-to-market designer, who is the backbone of the revenue strategy. Okay. Yeah. But that does not happen unless we educate the CEOs and the investors of what is business transformation look like to get off the MQL into an account-based go-to-market, where you have one revenue team, okay, that is marching to the beat of the same drum with the ICP prioritization, okay, and the metrics change to the focus on ultimately what the investors want, which is NRR. Okay. It's not even bookings. Okay. Which I don't even, I'll get to that in a second, but it really is NRR. And ultimately it's about creating meetings. And it's about the fastest conversion to creating meetings. And we've got to get off we've got to get off this quantity metrics into the quality metrics. And the only way you do that is to be hyper focused, to work together as one team, and to be authentic and human, which in a lot of ways AI is taking us in the complete opposite direction. And we need to stop looking to vendors as the magic beans or potions or snake oil or whatever. And it is not technology first, it is strategy first. Yeah. And this one final thought. I'm a marketing leader. I'm a 4 or 5x VP of marketing, who was prior 10 plus years as an enterprise sales rep, where I was a sales rep pre-IPO for a company. So I was a trained freaking soldier. You cannot miss your numbers. Okay. So I'm kind of bilingual in a way that other marketing leaders are not. And I'm going to tell you something that's the biggest problem, in my humble opinion, about go-to-market and about this collaboration. Mike, we're like, it's oil and water of marketing and sales, whatever. How do we fix it? The problem is account-based go-to-market is too conceptual. It's too conceptual. Sales and CEOs and GMs don't really understand the tangible reality of how it's supposed to work. Okay. And it doesn't make sense, because sales leadership, account executives have been creating account-based strategies for years. When I had the Carolinas as my sales territory, you could write a sales plan, and it's account-based plan. So So why all of a sudden when we get into account-based go-to-market, does sales not cooperate all of a sudden when they think that way anyway? It doesn't even make any freaking sense. They should be like, okay, finally marketing is getting account-based. Hallelujah. Okay. But that's not happening. And the biggest reason I feel from being feet on the street as a consultant is because it is not tangible to sales what their actual freaking role is in the go-to-market. Okay. So, so, and when I work with companies, I use a pod structure that I've created and evolved over time where I take a sales rep and a marketer and a BDR and I make them one team. And it's not always one-to-one. Okay. I change their compensation. I focus them on meeting creation and research. Okay. I focus them on social selling to the buying group and making concerted effort to pull the buying group. And marketing does their omni-channel strategy and their personalized landing pages. And of course, you've got the ICP and tiers, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But the biggest disconnect is that sales doesn't understand how this works, and CEOs don't yet have the trust because it's not a lead on a golden platter for sales. Okay, which, let's be real, it never really was in the first place. Okay, it just wasn't. But that's what they want. No lie, I had a leader who in an interview process that I was in, I think I went through 7 interviews, and I think I could very well have gotten the role, but the leader said to me, I want sales to do their own thing, Lauren. Like, I want marketing to do their own thing, and I want sales to focus on closing business, and I want them to do their own thing because we only have a certain amount of years that the private equity is expecting us, to have. They have an exit plan, and I need to focus sales on selling. Okay. So, all right, I'm going to take a breath there. Sorry, I get very passionate about this topic. Obviously, it's super frustrating because I get really annoyed with the influencers because they do not get it. They do not get it. I'm tired of marketers talking to marketers, and we're not the ones who are going to solve the problem, but we should be, but we do not have a voice at the table yet.
You mentioned private
Like, just real quick, that was several hot takes all in one. That's so well done.
Always. I mean, you know me. That's how I
do.
roll, friends. So that's how it goes. But thanks for letting me emote. Yes.
Our video editor thinks he's going on vacation after today.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nope.
sorry.
You mentioned private equity, venture capital, and the race to revenue. So in a previous life, when I was leading a demand gen team, it was recommended that I read a book. When you and I were talking about this before we went live, I used ChatGPT. It's really hard to use ChatGPT as a verb the way we do with Google. I GPT'd the book, Post-Acquisition Marketing, How to Create Enterprise Value in the First 100 Days. It's written by Shiv Arianian, who leads How to SaaS, the consultancy. And he helps private equity and VC-backed SaaS companies build out their marketing function. And it is like exactly the stuff we were talking about before about like, get your MQLs and the way that we were taught to do these things. So I looked it up. It was written in April 2021. And I feel like a lot has changed, but I also hear a lot of people who are still talking this language.
I think the language is changing, but the actions are not changing. And that is very concerning to me because, again, you've got to kind of be all in. I mean, you're like this, when we stay in limbo, nothing changes. Okay. But the problem is that it's too safe and we want everything all the numbers to just line up perfectly.
It's measurable. Isn't that the key?
It's all about measurable, but why do we have to be measured on our individual functional areas? Why do we? I'm seeing, in my world, I'm seeing 15 to 25% more conversions by working together. I worked I've led BDR teams in addition to marketing for a really long time. Again, because I think I've worn the sales hat and it is a little more natural to me, but also I want to own the last mile because marketing doesn't create meetings, right? So we've got to make this, we really need to make this transformation. Is there music playing in the background? Is Marcus playing over there? He's like a little kid. Anyway, I lost my train of thought, but yeah, when I added a BDR team to one of my we didn't have BDRs, and I added BDRs, and just adding BDRs to that mix was like in the first few months raised our meeting create our pipeline conversion 15 to 20% just really in the first 2 months of adding that function. When done well, I mean, ABM metrics, when ABM is done really well and a go-to-market strategy is really well, I feel like the metrics really hold. The problem is most organizations don't know what to do. They don't get beyond the conceptual, and they're not really committed to the reality of the business transformation for the reasons we talked about earlier.
You said earlier tech should follow strategy. My sense is that ABM looked like a tech problem to solve and not a strategy problem. Am I reading that right?
No, I think you're so right. The problem is it looked magical. It was
Yeah.
incredible. The unicorns came and danced around the marketers, and the salespeople were saved. And I mean, think about it. We were told that there is the dark web, and we can now have the shining the light on the dark web, and we have intent data, and it tells you what people are doing when you can't see. It is so incredible. But the algorithms and these technologies were oversold, and but worse is they didn't care about your strategy. They didn't care about whether your teams work together or not, or that they said the MQL's dead, so you need to do this. Okay. But they didn't they didn't really think about how you were going to get sales to get on board. And I call it herding cats. It's like, the technology is almost the easy part when you know how to use it. It's the human beings that are the really tough part. And you have two functional areas that never really would see eye to eye anyway, because they're too busy finger pointing. So that's why I'm the one talking about, well, let's really redesign the model, and let's compensate different, and let's set joint goals. And I'll tell you what, when you have a good pod team, you got people high-fiving because they're all making the meetings. Okay. Right? It feels so good. AEs and BDRs have been aligned for years. There's a lot of great sales leaders that have created pods of BDRs that have worked with AEs, especially as far as like mentoring. But to have a pod that's a full revenue team of where they're in it together, and they get more money and stuff if they actually work, together. And if they're failing, they're failing together, and they go, we got this, guys. Like, we're going to do this. And if you gamify it and you really applaud, and what if you compensated more if you actually focused ICP accounts instead of do you think maybe you'd have less bookings of accounts that have high churn? I mean, we just have to think about this differently. And maybe this is where Sangram comes in, because things like compensation and things about the structure of your departments is definitely a CEO, led decision. And so I completely respect that part of his opinion. I just think that marketing leaders need to have more of a voice, because we're the best equipped to solve this big problem. I think the go-to-market engineer should report, or maybe not report into, but seek direction from the marketing leader when it comes to the go-to-market strategy and the use of AI.
You have mentioned marketing seat at the table multiple times. I was talking to somebody earlier this week, might have been last week, but it's come up a couple times. The CMO role itself is the highest ranking marketing person. So are you suggesting that the CMO is the one who needs a seat at the table? And if so, let's talk about the challenges of that, because of what's transpired with the CMO role.
Oh, yeah. What has transpired with the CMO role? We now report to CROs. So we're down a level. So attribution apparently doesn't work either. And we've known that, too. So all of a sudden, again, everything's so data driven, but none of our data is real. I think there's a few problems. There's just fundamentally no one understands what marketing's role is, or why anyone should care. So we've got to fix that. But I'm going to tell you something that I'm going to really enjoy as this becomes more prevalent, is that branding is going to be more important than ever with the rise of AI. We're hearing that like crazy. Do you know how many CEOs told me through the years that branding did not matter? And how unbelievably creative I was in my youth that has just been soul crushing as they've squeezed it out of me. Where right now it's going to be more important than ever to be human and creative, because AI is not, that's, while AI can aid that and give ideas, at the end of the day, the humanity of it and the real creativity is going to come from humans. Like, I love that, but think about that though. That really shifts what the role of the CMO is, right? And it makes me really excited because, um, if websites aren't the way that you're going to be found, and if you have to really contextualize your business better and how you message it and the message market fit, and you have to really think creatively about your brand and make it more human and sticky and disruptive and whatever, that's all marketing too. Okay, well, how do you measure that? That's the age-old thing. How do you measure that? Um, and I think we've been focusing a lot of the wrong things. The problem is that marketers don't talk like finance people. And the CFO needs to be our best friend. And we need to stop using these vanity metrics that have been imposed on us and take a stand for the metrics that really matter, which again, ultimately is ARR. Because that's what the investors want. And so we need to, the problem is we're not really focusing what the end game is and what the objective is to all this thing of why we're even solving for revenue desperation in the first place.
Wow.
Yeah,
Great,
right.
great answer. Yeah, I mean, you're hitting. I think all the
Well, it's always
high
a
points
long
there.
answer with me, but it's a complicated, thing. I think that marketing and go to market is too complicated. It's too complicated. And I think we're making it more complicated. And I think that focusing technology first is making it more complicated. And I think the the fact that there is no third party source that is really giving us a very prescriptive, tangible way that this is done successfully is a really, really big problem in the market right now.
You mentioned before booking meetings, converting sales happens better when companies have a good understanding of their ICP, and I think you are of the mind that a lot of people don't these days.
Oh, I'll tell you, that's one of the biggest problems that I see. And I'll tell you, I wrote an article, with MarTech, with interviewing one of my dearest friends, Dan Spearing of Align ICP. And I have to mention him because a lot of go-to-market experts come from sales and marketing. He comes from CS. And the reason why he and I have become such good friends is out of the utmost respect that I have for him, because he knows at the end of the day, ICP is about um, companies that have the highest propensity to buy and the lowest propensity to churn. Because at the end of the day, again, back to the original point about what the investors care about, the bookings is a short-term thing that sales does to keep their job. Okay. But ARR is what the investors want, because that it has to do with what the ultimate evaluation of the company is to get the company, whatever the exit is, IPO or acquisition or whatever. And so here's the biggest problem on ICP. It's still a guess. Everyone is guessing. No one is putting the time, into it. And it has a lot. And if you don't get it right, you are the risk to your organization again in fixing your revenue desperation is so great. So let me break that down for a minute. Number one is that you really have to analyze your data and not just about lookalike accounts. And it has to be a product led conversation, not a sales led conversation. And we've been having those words for decades now. Okay. Why? Because it's not what you like to sell. It's not what's going to get you your commission. It is about what is going to be the lowest churn, as I had mentioned before. It's also about, the fastest sales cycle. It's about the highest margin. It's about triggers it's about the attributions. It's, and how can you identify accounts in your ICP once that are really at the end of the day, they're worth the time and focus of quality of your overall go-to-market team, one revenue team working together. Okay, and then I interviewed Davis Potter with ForgeX the other day, who is an ABM analyst, if you will, and he said it's sort of like a stock portfolio, like the way that you distribute your own money. On you've got these you've got funds that are sort of a collaboration of many different accounts, and you have other major accounts where you put your money, because you're really being strategic and very focused and researching those particular accounts because they think you believe you're going to make a lot of money long term. So focusing your ICP, and where it makes sense for you, okay, and it makes sense with the right priority is really quite key. And I highly believe that once you do that well, the next part of it is that you've got to get the product market fit. And back to what I said before, product marketing is the area that is always seems to be the lightest, and it's the most important. If you don't have the right product market fit with the right message market fit, as I have these conversations with Dan Spearing, is then you're going to have a miss. That's where when people show me that their funnels are dead, it's usually because they don't have the right audience fit with the right message at the right time. Um, so um, so anyway, I think even the best marketing campaign is not going to work if you don't get you're not have the right ICP with the right product market fit, and that's where we're really missing. We're really missing that right now. Um,
It seems almost like unbelievable that we're still missing that. This is not new. This
Oh
is
yeah.
like,
Well, Mark, why the reason, in my humble opinion, is we're not actually talking to our customers, and our use cases are not captured in operationalized ways. I mean, really, those are
yeah,
the two major ways.
wow.
Yeah. You just wrapped up a job search. Congratulations. Uh,
Thank you, thank you. I appreciate that.
you we talked a little bit earlier about everybody's looking for execution. It's really hard for people who are focused on strategy, who are at that sort of senior level right now, to find jobs. I asked you, is part of the view of GTM over demand generation, is that not landing with people? Is that part of the problem with landing jobs? Or what's it like out there?
Yeah, it's really hard out there, and I want to do a shout out to all my friends and uh, folks like me who really struggled with it. Um, I think I think there's a few things. I think the value in marketing leaders is not there. I think the VCs and private equities again have struggled with what the business transformation and go to market really looks like, and um, I think the salaries are just not being put there for heads of marketing. I am an avid mentor, and a lot of my mentees are early professional marketers who are tremendous leaders that are in their late 20s, early 30s, and get these big boy and big girl jobs of being head of marketing. And because the salaries, because if you're making 80, 90,000, and all of a sudden you're offered a job for 120,000 to be a head of marketing, and you're in charge and you have a salary that is really good for where you are in your professional career, like like and a lot of the people that I mentor are tremendously talented and tremendously mature to take on these jobs. The problem is that oftentimes they don't have the business acumen to be able to handle the job, and moreover, herding cats is really hard even if you're my age. It's really and to stand in a boardroom for the first time, none of this, like when you have a CEO for a boss, you have no boss. That was what I was told the first time I was a head of marketing, and it's very, very true. And so companies are putting these early professionals in these situations, which for the early professionals seemingly is the most amazing thing in the world. And for a mentor like me, makes me so proud. But the reality is there's so much risk. there is so much risk. Someone like me who has seen every spider come out of every closet and knows how to block and tackle and knows to anticipate where all the stop gaps are going to be, or to stand in a boardroom and have answers, because you know that you can't stand there without any answers, right? um, that is just too much for early professional, and it's not making anyone successful. At least if you're going to do that, at least hire professional mentors to be able to, or have an advocate or pair that and this happens in other functional areas too, don't get me wrong, but for someone like me and the many people like me out there with 20-30 years of experience, there's so much raw talent out there that is being unused, and it's a horrible situation to be in. Many people feel that they're just not hireable anymore, and they're crazy, crazy talented, and they're trying to reinvent themselves, where they can't even get interviews, because if your resume is too long, and or your salary is over 200,000, or to be honest, these days, if your salary is over 150,000, you're lucky to even get an interview. And that is the reality. And this is the worst part. If someone like me wanted to take a lesser job, I wouldn't even be in consideration because I was too qualified.
It's interesting because there's like a real paradox here. Maybe not a paradox. Maybe it's just reality. I mean, you're making a really compelling argument of that strategy should lead execution, not the other way around. If you're young, and then if you're younger in your career, you're probably an execution expert, and you don't really yet have, as you just said, the chops or the maturity or the leadership skills to drive a strategy. And yet we've been in this situation now for years, right? Go to market's kind of been broken for a while. I don't know that it ever worked perfectly, right? It never really worked. And so, I can't remember who I was talking to, but like there's an ego at play here. I think like what I'm getting from you is there's an ego from board management. They think they know better. They're not trusting the experts the same way we trust, let's say, a CFO or an operations person. I think that's one of the challenges that marketing, senior level marketing have, is like it is really that quote unquote seat at the table with a level of maturity that that is respected in a way versus just go do stuff, right? Just go give me the vanity metrics and everything will be fine. It's not working, I think, is what I hear you saying.
I think it's not ego, Mark. I think they honestly just don't know.
Yeah.
I think they don't know. And I'll tell you why I know they don't know. Because for a really long time, I read position descriptions for heads of marketing. And I would look at the position description, be like, I'm not even going to apply there, because they clearly don't even know what a head of marketing, like what they do. If you have a VP of marketing role or a CMO role and it says pay-per-click, like on there, and it lacks strategic, think, or even go to market, then you have no business even hiring a head of marketing, in my humble opinion. I mean, and if I would go into interviews and they would ask me just questions, and I would just sit there, go, I don't even know what I'm going to tell this person, because I can get them out of revenue desperation if they talk to me, and I can tell them what I could do in the first 100 days. I can tell them where the quick wins are. I even understand sales well enough, I can mentor sales reps and create sales narratives like nobody's business. I can control and optimize the sales cycle, but they don't want to hear that, because they don't really understand, and they're not really willing to listen. And so we're coming full circle here, because it goes back to, if the CEOs don't understand and the investors don't understand, how are we going to make any changes? We're just going to sit in this and we're going to marinate in this complexity for how long? While they're saying execute, execute, execute. Okay.
I think that's what I mean by ego. I think that's exactly what I mean by ego. Maybe it's not the right word to be fair, but it's we're assuming a bunch of things are true. So what we need is somebody to go execute. We have perfect product market fit. We have people ready to answer the phones or do the lead gen or do demos. We have all that stuff. So really what we need, and it's a diminishment of marketing's role in what you said earlier, right? The way go-to-market works is it's a partnership between marketing and sales, whether those are one function, two functions, doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by ego, is like, okay, if you truly think all you need is an executional marketing person, I mean, hire a consultant, hire a team. Like, but you don't, what I'm saying? Like, I think that's part of the challenge. And I think that's probably the fault of senior level marketing people, guilty as charged, who maybe don't understand how to position really what the value is correctly, or ego on the part of senior management board who are saying, we don't need strategy. We have strategy. That's done. Like what I need is a PPC person.
Well, I mean, that the latter that you just said, I see a lot. Um, I think it's really hard to make true business transformation when you're the sole functional leader saying that you need to change. You know, when you're a sales rep, the whole organization is on board for you to help you sell, right? So sales can do it and say whatever they want to. Everyone's on board because they're the ones who produce the revenue. But when you're the marketer, it's like, just do your job. Just like, just fix this. Just come in and fix this. Okay. But
Yeah.
the problem is the plumbing doesn't work. And why do we think that even, again, I don't think it ever worked, but I think a lot of amazing thought leaders in the marketing automation tools that were on the market said that this is how it's supposed to work. So everyone's like, okay, you tell me to jump how high. But it is very reasonable after all of these years to have a different model. The problem is that we're not talking to the right people to actually make that transformation. And marketing is not, we can blame marketing leaders till we're blue in the face. I think there is a lot of very seasoned marketing leaders like myself that we know what to do. We just don't really have the advocacy and the disruptive nature in our CEO leadership to jump in with both feet to actually do what it takes, and what true go-to-market collaboration looks like in compensation and joint goals. No one wants to actually own that. No one wants to actually jump in.
Something that sort of occurred to me, Mark, you might remember a clip from last week, our conversation with Jana Mistry. She was talking about volume, like more emails, more ads, more everything. And did
Yes.
anybody ever ask the audience if they wanted more? And when you talk about leadership being sort of fascinated with hiring people to do execution, one leads to the other, right? You have all these people who are executing. What are they doing? They're creating more. And so Jana's question of, did anybody ask the audience if they wanted more? Like, kind of comes back.
We don't. Do you want all the
Yeah.
emails you get, all the spam emails you get in your inbox, or all the emails that make no sense, where you're like, again, they're hugging strangers. I'm like, gosh, some of the stuff I get is really invasive too. It's like really, oh, the best is when you get the follow up of like, did you not see my email? Like, why aren't you
Right.
responding? Like, who are you? Right? I think, Mike, you had asked about execution, and I don't think that I kind of addressed that well, but I want to take a minute to talk about that a minute. It is easy to execute to spam. Like we can all spam really good. We can throw, spaghetti at a wall and see if it sticks or whatever, to be nice there, right? We can all execute. Okay. We know we can work really hard. I know I'm an immigrant's kid. I know how to work really, really hard. Okay. But that we've got to work smarter, not harder. The problem with go to market and the problem with ABM, and what I'm going to really love in certain vendors that I love, that I support, are the ones that will bring simplicity and execution. And I think AI is, again, I'm a strategy first person, so I'm not advocating that technology is going to solve our issue. We'll just like say that. But there are certain vendors that I particularly love because they are going to bring great simplicity to execution. Conceptual marketing at scale. I like that conceptual marketing. Elaine Zelby, the co-founder and CRO of Tofu, which is a company that I really have my eye on right now, she uses this term conceptual marketing, and I love it because it kind of combines the concept of relevancy, okay, which is real, and personalization, okay, and so in execution, what we've got to figure out is it's very difficult to research each and every account. In a one-to-one ABM motion, it may be very necessary to research in order to be meaningful to the buying group to get the meeting. Okay, we know that already. But if there are vendors that can help us with AI solutions to be able to sift through that research, still have a human being read it and be able to articulate it, maybe somewhat AI aided, but still be very authentic in the output and the final, and being able to accelerate that that conceptual marketing process, that's something we really need to grab on to as marketers. The orchestration, taking personalized content, conceptualized marketing content, and executing it at scale for an account-based go-to-market strategy, doing that manually is too hard for a startup or growth stage. Okay, it just is. And the more watered down you get with the lack of focus, the less conversion you're going to get. Okay, so there in several technology AI solutions that I have visibility, and other also AI go-to-market vendors that do a really good job, because I think a lot of marketing leaders need help with AI experts right now. There are ways, again, to execute at scale where everyone, all these fancy vendors can say that you've got to focus the buying group. Okay, you really have to scale the personalization to a whole buying group. A marketing team to do that and write, email nurtures and digital ads for every buying group, and every email, that is so much work. So if we can use AI to not be so spammy and actually be very real and authentic, both in the collaboration of the human being and the AI to accomplish that, that's where I see that we're going to get the conversions that ABM deserves, and that go-to-market will really show itself. Of course, you still need the collaborative motion, but the execution part is way too hard right now in ABM, because again, people think about it too conceptually. They don't know how to actually do it, but doing it is too hard. So that is where I'm hoping that some of these technologies will help us do a better job, because that is really the only way that we can really fix the complexity of execution. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Makes a ton of sense. You're smart. They made a good hire. Let me tell you.
I do want to say something. It's when you're in the job market for a long time, you forget, I'm getting a little emotional.
Yeah, no,
But
I
you
feel you.
forget.
Yeah.
You
And you
forget.
know what? It's not fair. And I really appreciate, I wanted to have the conversation about having this conversation before we came online, because I know
Yeah.
it's emotional. We had Jay Mandel on a few weeks ago talking about burnout. It's real, right? And your mental state, the pressure of driving the leads and the metrics and all the rest stuff, and then kind of mitigating your emotional state is important. So I really appreciate
Well,
you
it's good.
sharing, and it's good to see the emotion.
Well, it's
I'm
good
really
that you're
happy for you.
paying. It's good that you're paying me extra to cry today.
That's exactly right.
That was
Checks me out.
that was a really good.
Yeah,
I hope I did a good job for you.
you
But
did. You nailed it.
there's so many leaders out there that are so talented, sitting there going, "What's wrong with me?"
And the answer is
So
nothing, right? The answer is nothing. There's
nothing.
nothing wrong with them. Yeah,
Absolutely, there is so much talent and so much know-how that is sitting there.
powerful.
So
Yeah,
I hope, if anything, that this podcast today is making, especially the startup and the growth stage, realize the value of a seasoned leader,
yeah.
and
Thank you for
that
sharing all that. Amazing.
we need to fix it.
Yeah.
So
All
Speaking
right,
of,
Mike.
last week we challenged Mark to use AI and come up with a theme song for MarTech Live.
I heard it's bad though.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to say. Like,
But let me ask you something. Did you put your own bias in there, or really let AI
let
do
me
their
tell you.
thing?
Let me tell you my creative process.
Okay,
I
that
started in
inquiring minds are.
ChatGPT. Yeah, I
Okay.
started in ChatGPT. My LLM. I LLM'd it. I tried to make LLMing it a thing, Mike. You're right. There's no real good verb for it.
There's no good
LLMing.
verb for this stuff.
Yeah,
We should just
LLMing it
forget all
is
about it and go back to Google.
exactly true. Yeah, we will get there eventually. So anyway, I started in ChatGPT. I was like brainstorming different ideas. I have a bunch of different creative GPTs that I've built that help me framework out, think about things. I'm a nerd that way, but also kind of a power user. So I eventually hit on this idea of something fun. I got thinking about my kids, because I like thinking about my kids, Nickelodeon, and I ended up with something interesting that I used. So at SEMrush, we have access to VEO3 through Google Docs. Basically, there's actually a Google Video app, and it's kind of like a PowerPoint or Google Slides, but it has VO3, it has some avatars in it. And so I don't have access to VO3 any other way. So I have that. So I started playing with that, prompting it, seeing what I could get. And I got something that I thought was interesting, but it cut off. It sort of cut off the words. And so, I ended up with a couple of things, and I'm going to play you the one that I thought was the most, like I said, I think I typed on LinkedIn. It's so dumb, and I'm just really excited to show everybody. So without further ado, let me load this sucker up, and hopefully everybody can hear it. Ugh, it's embarrassing. Here we go.
MarTech Live, MarTech Live. Kids are shouting it, it's a vibe.
There we go. There's the world view of the MarTech. Go ahead.
Go ahead,
It's
Mike.
terrible. That's all I'm going to say.
It's terrible. Is it terrible though? Should we watch it one more time just because I have it?
Can we please watch it one more time?
Yeah, was it loud enough? Hold on, let me check the volume. It's cranked. Okay, here we go.
MarTech Live, MarTech Live. Kids are shouting it, it's a vibe.
It's sort of like, did your kids like watch the Wiggles and like that stuff?
Of course.
Like, yeah, right? It's kind of like you can't look away. Like you
Can't look away. And it's an earworm.
Yeah.
I promise someone out there is going to be like, MarTech Live.
Okay, my vote is I actually really like it. It's not what I expected. It's no Coldplay or anything, but
Do we need more Coldplay? Honestly,
no. Mike and I talked about that earlier. I think there's they had their moment. No,
they have their moment.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I can't look
Appreciate
away.
it. Mike hates it. But...
You do have applause from Ashley, by the way.
Hey,
Stream, so.
Thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley.
No, since we're being vulnerable today, no, I'm kidding. There it is. I'm convinced. I was going to make a joke earlier when we were talking about spam, about how like who needs an hour-long talk show podcast about marketing on a Friday afternoon. But the truth is, like, I think we all need one.
We so need one.
Yeah. So if you're out there watching and you want to come on and join us, you should send us messages and harass us and be an expert in your field, and you can join us.
And we won't ask you to compose any theme songs.
No, that's just
got
for me.
That covered. So, all right. You want to play What's on Your Feed?
Heck yeah, let's go.
All right. Who's going first here?
Lauren, did you guys? I joined the setup meeting late.
Yeah, tell me how this. No, tell me how this works.
Okay.
I hope I'm prepared.
Yeah, this is how it works. You're going to share your first. Go to LinkedIn. Just bring up LinkedIn in a new browser window. Okay.
Oh, okay. This is like an action thing. Okay.
Oh yeah. You go to LinkedIn, but don't actually just bring it up. And then what you're going to do is down below there's like a little box with an arrow. It says share your screen in the recording studio, and just share your screen like you normally do. And then the game is what's on your feed. So then you're going to refresh LinkedIn, and we're going to look at what's on your feed.
Okay, this is going to be bizarre.
Yeah. Please.
Okay, where are you? Okay, so I'm going to share. Stop camera. No. Share my screen. Share window or share screen.
Share the window with LinkedIn. That way we don't want to see anything we shouldn't see.
Okay.
I mean, you never know what you're doing over there.
I don't know. I wish I was more exciting than that. Okay.
There it is.
All right. Show me where I need to.
Yeah. So just hit the LinkedIn logo. So you go to your feed.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And then let's just kind of go. Let's just look at what's on your feed. So let's just kind of scroll down. Our buddy Nick. I'm talking to Nick later today.
Yep. Yeah. Oh, awesome. He's one of my favorites. Genius guy. Sam Baker. You know Sam Baker?
No.
Sam Baker was a founder of Corvus that got acquired, and he has a TED Talk about negotiating. He's an expert in negotiation, and great guy. Okay, let's see here. Liam Darmany is tremendous. He is a LinkedIn social selling expert. Huge following. Great about social selling on LinkedIn. Let's see here.
I like how every time we do, Mike, here's a comment about what's on your feed. You notice how we always skip the ads?
Am I always? Oh.
It's true.
It's true. We're like, oh, that's an ad. Let's
Sorry
not,
for all of you who are pouring money into LinkedIn ads, but
Exactly.
it's
So
true.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be giving commentary, but anyway.
You can comment. You can comment on anything you want. It's all good.
I mean, Alina, the co-founder and co-CEO of Chili Piper, is one of my favorite. She is one of the most real, most vulnerable um, leaders, I think, in the AI and MarTech space. She's someone I really love following.
Why is her head upside down in that video? That's pretty cool.
I don't know. You never know what she's going to come up with, which is
I
one
love
of
that.
the
If
things
that's
I
intentional,
love.
I plus one that if
Yeah.
that's intentional.
I will say something too about her is that I have been at trade shows with her employees, and they genuinely tell me that they love working at Chili Piper. And I've actually reached out to her to tell her that I love hearing that. They really feel like it's a family, and they feel like they're very heard, and that their careers are really nurtured. And sadly, that is so rare these days, which is sad to say out loud, but I
Yeah.
applaud her. I think that's awesome. Kimberly Kaminsky is one of my favorite CMOs. She's on the market right now. So check out Kimberly Kaminsky, is a really talented leader. Let's see
This is
here.
hysterical. Do
I
you
don't
know
know.
this dude? Go.
What?
Okay, scroll back up. Do you know this kid? He's like a stand-up comedian. He's on TikTok. I'm on TikTok way too often. This kid's funny. Like, you should check him out. He does these funny like videos talking about corporate speak, and he's funny. I like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I have not seen him before. Cool. Okay. This is a fun game. I like this. I don't know.
Is that right?
I don't know if my feed is like even the most exciting of most people. Oh, full funnel. The full funnel guys, Vladimir and Andre, they are probably one of the best account-based go-to-market consultants. They're European based, and their Substack is amazing. What I love about them is they do a lot of diagrams, and they have very tangible things about go-to-market strategies, like suggestions on how to compensate SDRs and pod teams and things. They have a lot of the same philosophies that I do. Love them. So definitely need to follow Vladimir and full funnel. Here's Andre is a co-founder, fullfunnel.io. Oh, David Kirkdorfer is one of my favorites too. He is a growth marketer that has his own business, and he's one of the best in sort of the SEO/GEO space.
Love it.
So for marketing leaders that are really looking to know, like, how do you make this transition and how you're ready for that, I love following his content. He's one of my favorites.
Hey, Lauren.
Wow. Yeah.
You are good at what's on my feed.
Wait. Oh, wait. Hold on. I don't know how to get back though. Hold on. Stop
You're good.
screen share. I'm good.
That was great.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't even know
Yeah,
what to do, so I'm glad I did a good job. At least I can.
You did an incredible. That was an incredible job. Congratulations. You win. You won what's on your feed.
I won. I won.
Mike, we're over time. I don't know. You want to spend a minute and look at your feed, or are we done?
Yeah, well, I'll look.
Sorry, it took too much
I'm
time.
just going to look real quick,
Okay.
because there is
But
some.
the people demand it.
Well, this I refreshed already, and I don't want to refresh because Brittany Borelli here, who Mark Stoos commented, friend of the show, GTM advisor as well. The CRM today is quietly dying. And it talks about some of the stuff that's ServiceNow and Clary and the Clary and Salesloft merger. There's interesting things going on in that space. In CRM, like, gosh, CRM is foundational, right? That would be a huge sea change. Everybody loves AI generated cartoons on LinkedIn. I too.
I like them. I got no problem with them. They're fun.
Nah, not at all. That's but it's this idea is something to keep an eye on. Natalie Jackson, is that a Gartner graphic? No, demand based. Natalie is also going to be a panelist September 17th. Marketing data and AI for marketers, MarTech Conference event. Make sure you register for free. This guy Mark Sirkin, he wants me to join something live. Mark Stoos again. Do you know Mark? Don't you, Lauren?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Our friends at SendRush.
Mhm.
Let's see. Michael Roberts is a great, if you're an email marketer, Michael Roberts out of Utah. Great follow. Great, just a knowledgeable guy about email and a guy who kind of set off and did his own thing and has had a lot of success. So he's got a couple stories going on. He's great at email marketing, and he really won the day of working for himself instead of others. MarTech newsletter, Web Webster, editorial professional, the M dash, the M dash.
Oh.
Dreaded M dash.
And also another friend of the show, Liam Maroney. A push for marketers to become AI experts. There's a push for everybody to become AI experts. But if you want to talk like old school marketing, brand development, Liam is a great follow if you're not already following him. So that is my feed.
That's a good
Love
one.
it.
You gonna go, or we're gonna
My
wrap?
Mark. Well, yep.
Oh, you want me to go real quick?
Yeah,
Yeah, if you
sure.
want. go
Sure.
ahead.
I've skipped the last couple weeks. Sure, let's go for it. Hang on a second. Okay. Let's see. All right, there's us. Naturally, the first thing that comes up is us. Hold on, let me refresh. Come on, get out of here. No, that's us. Okay. Christopher Penn. Great follow if you care about really sophisticated use of AI. Dude is off the chain. Him and Katie Robert, his CEO, absolutely kill it. In fact, what is the date? Shoot, I should know the date. I think it's early October. Christopher is doing a SMX masterclass on advanced prompting techniques. Super affordable, and you're going to learn a ton. I can't wait to take the class myself.
We've also got a lot of clips from Christopher Penn hitting the MarTech YouTube feed over the next couple of days because we've had some discussions with him that we've recorded.
Yeah, I think we do. Yeah, he's great. Tom Fishburne. Hey, our old friend Tom. Tom is the marketunist. I'm sick of all car ads looking the same. What the hell? We didn't mean it. Yeah, well, that's what you get with AI these days, I guess. Uncensored CMO. That's fun. Popular
good.
course on LinkedIn. That's fun. Wall Street Journal ad. Katie Robert. Yep, speaking of the devil. Oh, look, they're live. Looks like they're streaming too. That's fun. We're all streaming. We're all streaming to each other. No one's watching. Our buddy Jay Schwedelson. Okay, so should we talk about Taylor? Dude, should we? No, we probably should. Let's not talk about it. We're already over time. Anyway,
I wish we had more time to talk.
Exactly. My wife and my daughter watched the entire New Heights podcast. I came in at the end. Look, Taylor Swift is she's amazing.
She's incredible.
Schwedelson's super fun. Yeah, email marketing, event marketing, conferences, digital conferences. Jay is. It turns out he's a Gator, which is bad. I'm a Seminole, but he's in the Hall of Fame at UF, and so congrats to him, direct mail Hall of Famer. Noah Greenberg, CEO at Stacker. PR and content teams are impacting GPT results almost overnight. This is where it's at. The new SEO is PR, I guess. I don't know. There's an ad. Matea Kittle, she's on our summer social team hitting the vibes. One small tweak. Try and boost engagement by 100%. Here's why it worked. Yeah, she posts some really funny stuff. The summer social team actually is pretty clever. And then Lily Ray, who is kind of like she's the one. Look at this. We got combo here. Lily and Elena Solis are the combo of like who you follow if you're into SEO. In fact, Mike King just dropped a terrific guide to SEO. I'm butchering it, and they just dropped a new guide that's incredible. There's a ton of great content on AIO, GEO, SEO. And all that stuff. So these are the smart. Oh, this is it. I'm looking at it right now. Look at this. The AI search manual. That's what they dropped yesterday.
Oh, wow.
It's awesome. Like I read the first 3 chapters. It's terrific stuff. Katie again. Chris Long, formerly of Go Fish Digital here in Raleigh. I don't know, Lauren, if you know Chris. He just went on his own. Connective.
His name looks so familiar. I don't think I've met him before. I need to.
Dude, we got to cross. We have to cross communities here in Raleigh. I got to get you pulled into the SEO stuff, and you got to pull me into the rest. So
we're
both in Raleigh, so it's good.
Yeah,
that's my feed.
All right,
love it.
Thanks again, Lauren, for joining us. Thanks to the MarTech Replacement Survey for sponsoring this edition of MarTech Live. Chris Penn's masterclass on AI prompting is October 6th. Thank you, Allison, for pointing that out. Anything else we didn't cover? I think we're taking the week off next week. Mark's going to the beach.
Yeah.
So we'll be back with like a Labor Day weekend special. We'll come up with some sort of theme and a guest.
Sounds awesome.
But we
Thanks
will
for watching.